If you feel stuck in your blog, your YouTube channel, or any content that you're creating, I get it, because I have made just about every single mistake that you can make when it comes to creating content. In this video, I'm going to be breaking down exactly what kept me stuck for so long, all of the mistakes that I have made, and the changes that I'm making to get unstuck and finally build the business that I've been dreaming of. First up, the mistakes that I made. So if you saw in my last video, I am basically starting my blog over from scratch so that I can rebuild it in a way that is actually going to make me money. So a lot of these mistakes are going to be related to my blog for me, but they are kind of just general content creation mistakes that you can make with any content creating at all. But the first mistake I made was not sticking to my niche. Now, this is always a big debate on whether you should stick to your niche or not, but for a blog and for my mistake specifically, I think you should stick to a niche. It just makes everything so much easier. If you're doing TikTok, you don't necessarily need to stick to a niche. If you're doing YouTube, you don't necessarily need to stick to a niche. I think it's probably still a good idea, at least in the very beginning until you build a following, because it's easier to get people to care about you if you consistently talk about the same topics. And then once you get big enough, you can pretty much talk about whatever you want. But I can also see why people wouldn't want to stick to a niche as well, because they can get boring. And that is one of the struggles that I had and why I kept going outside of my niche. But especially for the things that I talk about with blogging, content creation, making money online, I feel like it's important that I do stick to my niche, especially with a blog, because then you won't confuse Google, you won't confuse your readers. It makes everything easier. But that is not something that I did. I would get bored with talking about the same topic over and over again. And instead of just deciding, I'm going to take a break or I'll pick it up again tomorrow, I would think, ooh, this sounds like fun. Let's talk about this. And I'm sure there is a way to have a multi-level niche blog. There's a lot of people that do it very successfully, but I was doing it wrong. There was just no strategy behind my expansion, and I never really stuck to one topic long enough for it to stick, for it to actually gain the traction that I wanted to see, which is another big problem that I had, was just jumping around too much. I would just kind of see like a lifestyle post on Pinterest and think, that would be fun to talk about. Let's write a post on it. That sounds popular. That probably is going to get me a lot of views. Let's write a post about that. But I really started posting randomly before I even had my original foundation built. So it was hard to figure out who my audience actually was and who I was actually talking to, because I was just writing all over the place of what looked interesting or what looked like it might be popular. Because at some point, I think you can definitely branch out into other niches. You just have to do it the right way. And I was most definitely not doing it the right way. And that's why I went from 104 blog posts down to about 40. And I just ended up cleaning up all the fluff that I had done over the years, all of the junk, all of the terrible posts that no longer fit, or off-niche posts, just posts that were doing badly and they were not worth keeping. I got rid of all of them. The second blogging mistake that I made was blogging without a strategy. And if you listen to what I just said, it's pretty clear that I did not have a strategy. The messy strategy goes deeper into just writing whatever post I wanted, though. I wasn't really writing for Google search either. I didn't bother with Google for most of my posts because I just thought it would be too hard to rank. There is a lot of money to be made in the blogging, the content creation, the make money online niche. It's huge, which means a lot of people who are way better at this than me are writing about that. And I was always using keyword research tools to find topics that I wanted to talk about. And they were really discouraging because it would either be a topic that I wanted to talk about and the competition would be really low, but the searches would be zero. Meaning it was kind of pointless for me to write on that topic because I wouldn't get any traffic. Or search volume would be super high and it would be super hard to rank for because, again, a lot of money to be made. A lot of people are writing on like how to start a blog. So I just kind of gave up ranking in Google and I really tried to focus on Pinterest instead, which is still a strategy. But even somehow still, I managed to rank for a few terms in Google and I really started to build up my Google traffic, which was exciting for me because it was something I wasn't really focusing on. And it is one of the reasons that I focus heavily on making sure that people are answering questions that people are actually asking, because there's so much traffic that you can get from Google. And once you're ranking there, I don't want to say it's fairly easy to get traffic because the ranking part is hard, but it's easy once you are already there because you don't have to do anything else. It's pretty fairly passive traffic once you do all of the work to rank. And if you don't do that, you don't answer the questions that people are asking and you write the posts that are easy to rank for, but they don't have any traffic, you're not going to be seeing any views. And that is obviously not what we want. But now that I'm starting over, all of that traffic is pretty much gone. It's kind of upsetting that I lost all of that traffic and all of the hard work that I deleted. I deleted 64 blog posts over the course of a couple months. But in reality, if I look at this objectively, it doesn't really matter that much. And that's kind of the way that I'm trying to look at this, because the posts that were ranking and the posts that were getting me traffic on Pinterest and on Google were posts that didn't matter. They were lifestyle posts that were kind of just fluff that I put out there in the hopes that it would drive traffic to my site. And it did, but they weren't turning into readers that were coming back consistently. They weren't my target audience. They weren't signing up for my email list because I didn't have any email list offers for them because it wasn't my target audience, a bunch of different things. So it was kind of just empty calories, basically. It didn't matter that I had this nice big number of people coming to my site if they were just leaving immediately. And a lot of the people that came to my site would leave within a few seconds, within 30 seconds or so, sometimes even way less than that. So those are the posts that I got rid of, because even if they were in my niche, but they're not even staying for 10 seconds, what's the point of keeping that post? It's obviously not keeping people onto my site. It's giving Google a bad view of my site. It's giving Pinterest a bad view of my site. It was just stuff that needed to be gotten rid of. So instead of focusing on all the hard work that I lost and all of the progress that I lost, I'm realizing that it wasn't really progress, because it was the wrong direction that I was going in. And it's better now to have 40 posts, which is what's left, of things that are actually going to drive that traffic that I need, instead of having 104, but they didn't really do anything. Which is why it was so easy to part with those blog posts, even if they were technically driving traffic. The third topic has been letting burnout lead my decisions. I would react to how I felt that day. If I was frustrated, if I was bored, if I was overwhelmed, by changing directions instead of creating space and rest for myself. So that is a big reason that I'm talking about burnout on my channel a lot. And I was doing the burnout series because it affected my business. And I know I'm probably not the only content creator that is experiencing burnout, or maybe not even burnout, just frustration with how their business is going or how their blog is going and the results that they're getting. I feel like that's probably a fairly common thing for a lot of new bloggers or content creators in general who want to see all of this growth. They want to be at this certain level and they just can't get there yet. And they think working harder is going to lead them more results, which yes, it could, but it could also lead to some pretty heavy burnout as well. So my hope is that if I can talk about all of these struggles openly, everything, not even just the burnout, it will reach people who are going through the same thing. And I can get people to recognize the signs of burnout and the mistakes that I'm making so that other people will not get burned out. They won't go through the headache that I am. They won't realize that 4 years of their work has been completely useless and have to delete all of their posts and start over from zero. I don't want anybody else to have to go through this. So I'm hoping by talking about it and sharing about the ugly side of business that we can prevent this from happening to other people. The fourth mistake that I made was a lack of consistency and clarity. However I felt that day would really determine the amount of work I got done and the direction I took everything. So I really let my own personal emotions and feelings dictate the business, and that just kind of made it a disaster. It felt like if something I was doing wasn't working, I would create a whole plan on how to change it. My ADHD loves the planning part of things. I don't like the executing part of things. So I would create this big plan for what I was going to change. And I'd get really excited and I would begin executing it messy because I didn't have a strategy before realizing that all that I actually needed was to step away and take a break, which led to the burnout. All these things are connected. And for my women who are watching, I recently realized last year that I have PMDD. I didn't get officially diagnosed for it, but I have talked to professionals about it, and it seems like that is what it is. And if you know anything about PMDD, it kind of wrecked my life for years because I had never heard of such a thing. And it just truly makes me feel crazy for like a week or two out of the month. Those emotions would bleed into other weeks as well. So it was really difficult, and I just felt like I needed to burn everything to the ground and start completely over. I felt like nothing that I ever did was good enough, and I just simply needed to start over and try literally anything else. And that bled into my business and the way that I ran things. And going through just the general monthly cycle of being a woman and the amount of emotional and mental turmoil that I go through. It was just really hard and it really affected my business. And since learning that PMDD even was a thing within like the last year, stuff has gotten a lot better because I have been able to recognize the signs of, is this a real thought or is this a PMDD thought? And the last few months has gotten even better as I learned to completely manage all of my emotions and thoughts and not just in that one phase because everything affects me. So I'm learning how to kind of separate my thoughts a little bit into, is this a useful thought that I actually feel, or is this a thought that's going to go away in a couple days and I can pretty much ignore it? So I'm hoping that this new way of looking at how I run my brain, I guess, is going to reflect in my business in a positive way, and things can be more stable from here on out. I'm sure there's still going to be some craziness, but I'm managing it so much better, and I'm really grateful for that. The other huge mistake that I made was neglecting the foundations of my blog and simply just not putting in the work. After a while, I really let burnout get the best of me, and I stopped doing a lot of the things that was growing my blog. I haven't really physically worked on my blog consistently in a really long time because I just would let things get into my head and frustrate me and cause me to just stop working. So of course, when I stop working, the growth stops as well. And I forgot that what I just needed to do was post videos, was to just write blog posts. I got so caught up in the millions of things that felt required to do because they worked for other people that I forgot that my main passion and my main focus is just creating content. Getting overwhelmed is so easy as a content creator because there are just so many things to do. There are an unlimited amount of things to do because there are so many ways that you can create content and run a business, and everybody's out there telling you this works for me, this works for me, this works for me, this works for me, that you want to try all of the things and then it doesn't end up working for you. But for me, I felt the pressure too because I'm like, it works for this person and a lot of other people, therefore I should be doing it as well. And it just did not work out that way. And then when I got super overwhelmed, I would stop working because what do you do when you get overwhelmed? Most people just go, I'm done. I don't want, this is overwhelming me. I don't want to do it. That is the trap that I fell into. Trying to be on every platform was a hard mistake that I learned. And also just simply continuing to do the things that I did not want to do, what I felt the need to do because everybody else was doing it. I wanted to do email marketing, blogging, YouTube, Pinterest for me, Pinterest for my clients, TikTok, all of these different things. It's a lot to do by yourself. And it takes even more energy to do the things that you don't like to do, which led to the heavy burnout and the burnout series, all of that. So I cut a lot out of my business last year and then even more things this year. And I'm hoping that by cutting out the things that I don't like, I can have more energy for the things I do like to do. It was really hard at first to see all of the progress that I lost, but at the same time, this is the perfect opportunity to take what I learned and build it into something different. I'm actually really grateful that this is happening because I can take what I learned and restart from the beginning, but still be a million steps ahead of where I started because of all the things I've learned over the years. And then I get to take you guys along for the journey as well. If there's anything that you want to see throughout this journey, make sure to let me know in the comment section down below. Do you want to see how I'm writing blog posts over? Do you want to see anything? I don't know what you could possibly want to see, but if you have anything that you're interested in learning about, questions about this journey, let me know down below in the comment section so you guys can see the process. And I'm sure there are many other mistakes that I've made over the course of building this blog, but those are the main ones that pretty much cover everything. So here is what I'm doing differently now in order to rebuild and grow. So first of all, I'm going to be strictly focusing on my niche. I'm not going outside of it. I'm not going to be posting things for fun. I'm not posting about it if it is not in my niche. And it's usually hard for me to stay on track. But I am resisting the urge to post about anything other than my niche. I will use TikTok because that's where I have been as well, to post about things that are fun, to post about whatever I want. And I think that me really getting a hold of my inner mental state, my PMDD and everything like that is going to help me not freak out, burn everything to the ground, and go outside of my niche. And right now, I'm actually not doing any posting at all. I still need to go through the 40 blog posts that I have left and update them. Just because I left them on my blog doesn't mean they were good. So I am combining posts together. I am rewriting posts, making sure that all of the 40 posts on my blog are good before I post anything brand new. And then after that, I'm going to be posting 10 more new blog posts before I start restarting Pinterest. But we'll talk about that in a bit, because one of the other things I'm focusing on is creating posts that people actually want to read, something that I preach and had not been practicing over the years. Well, I just recently started preaching it because I knew I was going through this process and how bad it sucked to not do that. And I really want to focus on what gets me ranked on Google. What questions are people actually asking? And more importantly, how are they wording them? That is the most important part of writing a post, because if you are answering a question somebody has, but you are not asking it in the exact way that they are asking it, they are never going to find it. I've experienced that with a few of my blog posts. I answered a question and the gist of the question was answered perfectly in the blog post, but the title that I used and the keywords that I went for were not what people were asking. So therefore, it didn't get found until I re-researched. I refound the keywords people were looking for, rewrote it. Then it was getting served out to the right people so that they could actually find the answer to their questions. So I really want to focus on areas that are actually going to be moving the needle and not focusing on every single shiny object that I come across. I'm also going to be simplifying my content strategy, which is something that I will talk about in another video, but I got rid of a lot of things that I wasn't enjoying, and I'm focusing on posting more to move the needle. So YouTube and the blog will support each other. The idea, the hope, is that people will find me on YouTube through search, and then they will find my blog through YouTube and vice versa. People will find me on Pinterest on the blog or on Google, and then in there I will embed a YouTube video, and then they will find me on YouTube through that, so that I could use both areas to drive traffic to both. I really want to focus on the Google traffic. And in the future, I may refocus on the Pinterest traffic. But right now, with 40 blog posts that are not good, it doesn't make sense for me to mix Pinterest back into it, because I only have 10-ish posts that are kind of Pinterest worthy. I'm actually going to be starting a brand new Pinterest account as well, I think. I haven't fully decided if that's what I'm going to be doing, but from the looks of it, it seems like that might be the best option, because I've changed Pinterest so many times over the years that it's me worth it to just start fresh if and when I decide to go back onto Pinterest and redo everything. I'm also working on monetizing right this time. I am making sure to focus on promoting posts that perform well and then doubling down on those and making more of them. And that is going to look like creating posts that people will read for longer periods of time, and then making sure to include affiliate links or product links in them. Because for a long time, I would just write blog posts and there wouldn't even be a point. There would be no call to action. There would be no products to buy or anything. It would just be simply, this post looks fun to write. This one looks like it's popular. Let me get that on the blog and hopefully get a bunch of traffic. But the point is to make money blogging and to sell products or get people on your email list or something like that, not just get people to read your blog and then leave and nothing happens. If you aren't promoting the right products, or worse, you are not promoting any products at all on your blog, it's going to be a hard time for you to make money. That's kind of just how that works. Now, the good news is my income has not gone down since I have basically erased the blog and started over. I still make money affiliate marketing. I still make money with clients. I still make money on YouTube. But affiliate marketing is the income source that I really want to grow, because it is the most passive over something like my client work. Affiliate marketing is a revenue source that might grow slowly, but it's going to be done right this time with better techniques. So I'm hoping to scale it quicker than if I was purely starting from zero. Now, as for YouTube, the only thing that I really want to do different on here is documenting the process of rebuilding my blog and doing it in a way that is informative but also fun for me. So if you've enjoyed this video and you want to follow along, make sure to hit that subscribe button down below and like this video if you liked. If you are going to stick around, I will see you in the next one. Bye.